and welcome to another episode of Weekly Analysis Indian Courts. I'm Sanya Talwar. So what made headlines in the Supreme Court of India this week? Let's have a look. Supreme Court directed for a CBI probe into fake spy scandal case against scientist Nambi Narayanan and stated that the Jain committee report be treated as preliminary inquiry report. The development came after the panel appointed by the Supreme Court to probe into the illegal arrest of scientist S. Nambi Narayanan in the ISRO espionage case of 1994 submitted its report to the Apex Court. In September 2018, the Supreme Court had held that the prosecution initiated by Kerala police in the 1990s in relation to this case was maliciously moved against the scientist, causing him immense humiliation. As a result of this, the Kerala government was directed to pay compensation of Rs 50 lakh to Narayanan. Further to this, a 3-member committee was constituted to probe into the illegal arrest of Narayanan. Supreme Court has stayed further proceedings of Division Bench of Delhi High Court in the Amazon Future dispute. This case is between Amazon.com Inc. and Future Group over the Kishore Biani-led retail chain's proposed 24,000 crore deal. Top Court passed the order in response to a special leave petition filed by Amazon on 8th April, challenging a Delhi High Court Division Bench order that allowed Future Group to proceed with the asset sale to Reliance Industries. Supreme Court denied the request of a doctor employed as medical officer at emergency triage of Deen Dayal Upadhyay Hospital for grant of study leave. Bench refused to interfere into the order of Delhi High Court, whereby the learned single judge had declined to interfere with the rejection of the petitioner's application for the grant of study and relieving orders by the Secretary Office of the Governor of Delhi, noting that the request of the instant nature could not be accepted in light of the grave pandemic situation at this juncture. Supreme Court has constituted a committee to study feasibility of undergrounding power lines and diverters with respect to preservation of the endangered species, the Great Indian Bustard. Court directed the respondents to proceed with undergrounding of power lines in the areas possible and further allowed an interim relief of installation of diverters. A 3-member committee has been formed to also evaluate the same. It was also brought to the knowledge of the court that the similar mechanism of undergrounding has already been adopted for the flamingos in the region. Supreme Court directed constitution of a committee under the chairmanship of former Supreme Court Judge Sri Krishna to oversee the working of the Mahabaleshwara temple in accordance with all traditions and customs. The court was hearing a challenge to the order of the Karnataka High Court, which handed over the management of Mahabaleshwara temple at Gokarna to Sri Ramachandrapuram Mutt. Court observed committee shall oversee the working of the temple and take over the management under the chairmanship of former Judge Sri Krishna. Mutt shall hand over the management to the commissioner, followed further to the committee. Now, some Apex Court judgments of the week. Supreme Court in check bounce cases issues guidelines for expediting disposal, asks Centre to make suitable amendments. Constitutional Bench delivered its judgment on a suo motu PIL concerning speedy disposal of cases under the Negotiable Instruments Act 1881. Court issued 8 directions, including High Courts practicing conversion of trial for complaints concerning check bounce cases from summary trial to summons trial, and asking Centre for making suitable amendments to be made for the Act for the provision of one trial against a person for multiple offences against Section 138 of the Act. Court bound to examine material on record to grant bail under UAPA. Supreme Court observed that while considering the grant of bail under Section 43(5)(d), it is the bounden duty of the court to apply its mind to examine the entire material on record for the purpose of satisfying itself whether a prima facie case is made out against the accused or not. High Courts and other courts now. The Delhi High Court on Monday expressed concern over the rise in COVID-19 cases and asked the Centre to examine the availability of oxygen in different states for diverting it to areas of surge, and said it is evident that the healthcare infrastructure is at the stage of imminent collapse. Taking stock of the plight of daily wagers and migrant labourers in light of the coronavirus-induced pandemic, the court also slammed the Delhi government for failing to utilize thousands of crores of rupees that they are sitting on, which is available with the board constituted under the Building and Other Construction Workers Regulation of Employment and Condition of Service Act 1996, and which has been collected as building cess for construction workers. The Bombay High Court's Nagpur bench directed the Maharashtra government to pertinently release 10,000 vials of remdesivir by Monday night, adding that this issue is required to be resolved on a war footing. A bench of Justices Sunil Shukre and S.M. Modak was hearing petitions concerning the shortages in medicines and medical infrastructure for combating the pandemic situation, which is currently writ large in the state. We find it necessary to issue some directions to the State Committee with a view to ensure fair and proportionate distribution of remdesivir, the drug, among various districts by following the principle, dire the need, surer the supply. Curbs in 5 cities of Uttar Pradesh by suo motu orders of Allahabad High Court on account of COVID surge. This order was, however, stayed by the Supreme Court on April 20th after UP government challenged the said order. Muslim women can legally divorce by khula. The Kerala High Court overrules a 5-decade-old judgment which effectively barred Muslim women from resorting to extrajudicial modes of resolving marriage. The bench stated that Muslim women can enforce khula or reverse talaq by returning dower to her husband. The court also took into consideration the question as to whether it is the intention of the legislature to do away with extrajudicial divorce otherwise followed by the followers of different schools. The Chhattisgarh High Court quashed the FIR registered against Dr. Sambit Patra for criticizing Nehru and Rajiv Gandhi, observing that there was no intention on the part of the petitioner to promote class or community hatred, and that no attempt was made by the petitioner to incite the people belonging to a community to indulge in any violence, and merely alleging inciting the feeling of one community or a group without any reference to any other community or group would not attract either of the two penal provisions. 2 FIRs were lodged against Dr. Patra in Raipur and Durg, while one was filed in Kankar against Tajinder Pal Singh Bagga. That's all for this week, folks. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video and found it helpful, don't forget to hit the like and share button. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you next week.